This story is currently trending of a Nigerian army officer who was set ablaze by his wife in Akwa Ibom State barely 6 months after they tied the knot, after they got married. Lieutenant Samson Haruna, who is also a doctor, was said to have married his bride, Nurse Retyit, in April of 2025. The wedding was a very public one because there are videos and pictures of them all over the internet showing the happiest day of their life, or what is supposed to be the happiest day of their life, only for it to turn red 6 months later on the 22nd of September in their home in Akwa Ibom State, in a barracks, in an army barracks where they lived, where it was alleged, according to the story, that she saw a text message in his phone of him chatting with another woman. She confronted him about it, and because of that text message, they had an argument. They had a fight. It is being alluded that she accused him of cheating, and he denied the cheatation. He denied being unfaithful to her, but she did not take his denial as an answer. And because of that, when the argument died down, she went to the room, doused him with petrol, and then set him on fire. He was rushed to the hospital, where eventually, after a while, he succumbed to his injuries. She has been arrested, and right now the story is all over the news, saying that she killed her husband 6 months after they got married, all because he was chatting with another woman. But this is the thing: Nurse Retyit Obadiah Haruna, the wife of the lieutenant, has come out to give her side of the story, and it is very different from what is being reported. In a voice note circling around, Nurse Retyit was explaining her side of the story, where she claims that yes, on that day they did get into an argument, they did get into a fight. She also alluded to Lieutenant Samson being physical towards her, that anytime they had a fight, that he was always aggressive, he was always the violent one, he was always beating her up. And on this day, when she started nagging over the chat that she saw in his phone, he got angry and decided to move out of their bedroom into another room that was somewhat a store, that was somewhat in the basement, or that was just at the corner of the house, a room that they don't use. And she said that that room had some junks. The room had that's where they kept their gallons of petrol. And that when her husband Samson was moving into that room, because due to the fight that they were having, he wanted to sleep in a separate room, he knocked down a gallon of fuel that seemed to have poured around the room accidentally. One of those spills that did not mean much until eventually it became a big problem. In the voice note, she says that when he moved into that room still, or as he was moving, they were still arguing, they were still fighting, they were still going back and forth. And he started threatening that he's going to beat her up, he's going to set her on fire if her people don't come and pick her and take her back to her father's house. So he kept making those threats to the point that he even brought out a lighter to threaten to set everyone on fire in that house. So she claims that a relative was also in the house, and I guess we're hoping that relative is supposed to correlate the story. She also claimed that she called the commanding officer of the barracks, like that is her husband's boss. She called him to let him know that, what's up, this guy is acting crazy, he's threatening to burn the house. And that she called him multiple times before the fire incident happened. Even in her voice note, she kept citing that they should ask the man, they should ask the commanding officer, they should call him and ask, because that she indeed called him to tell him that. And while she was doing all this calling, saying that Lieutenant Samson was making the threats, somewhere along the line, she claims or believes that he eventually attempted to light a lighter in the room where the fuel had spilled, forgetting that the fuel had actually spilled. As he tried to turn on the lighter to make some kind of threat, the fire caught on. She's saying that it was an accident on his part, not even on her part, that she did not throw a lighter at him, she did not throw a match at him, and that he was the one who did it himself and caught himself in that fire.
On the 21st, on the 22nd, on the 22nd of September, he came and dropped me off from work. His elder brother asked him to pack his things from the room and leave me and frustrate me. When I was frustrated, I'll leave the room. So he bought a new mattress and then he packed to another room to the store. The store had fuel and other things inside. So while he was packing, he accidentally hit the fuel. When he hit the fuel poured in the house. So he has been beating me. He has beaten me on so many occasions that I even had miscarriage. So he was threatening me with lighter that he's going to set me ablaze if my parents don't come to carry me. So immediately he said he set me.
She even went on to claim that even when the husband was in the hospital, he was asking the nurses and the doctors to please let his wife in, that the wife did not do it, to let the wife come and see him because they were preventing her from coming because they thought she did it to him. That she was like telling in a voice note that the husband himself, before he died, pretty much told them that they should forgive him, not her. He didn't say, please forgive my wife. She didn't mean it. She is saying that the husband was saying, please, you guys should forgive me, let my wife come and see me. And if this is true, if the nurses can, the hospital can say that this happened, and to be truly honest, she might have a fighting chance against this accusation if it's true. So our narrative, to me, is giving us places where we can go and check. All we have to do now is ask the commanding officer of the barracks, did this woman call you and what time? And check the time the call was made and check the time the fire may have started. Because she could place that call after the fire just to create an alibi. She also mentioned that there was somebody in the house and people who know that he was a violent one. So if she can correlate the story with people who can say that, yes, Lieutenant Haruna was the one who was beating her up, who was the violent one, who was the aggressor, she has a case. If she can also find the person who was in the house with them who saw him threatening to burn the house, she may have a fighting chance. And also with the nurses in the hospital, if they can correlate to the story that the husband really wanted to see her and the husband really said those words that they should forgive him instead of forgive her. But, her story is something that everybody else has to correlate for it to be believable. Another thing again that somebody mentioned, I saw in the comment that I thought, okay, somebody was like, oh, if he did do it by accident, then the fire should have caught her too and some other people, but she left without a scratch. Apparently, from what I've seen, if the word is going around that she poured him fuel and then light him on fire, by my physics or by my calculation, she too should have caught a little bit on fire. That is what we've seen with people who set something on fire. If you pour, unless whatever you're pouring, you do it deliberately and then you go far like you're trying to burn a trash. But if you're in the heat of the moment pouring fuel to light someone on fire in a fight, there is that chance that the fire would have also caught on her. If it's fuel, it would have rapidly at least burnt her hand or something. She would have had a burn injury too. And if she did have a burn injury, it could indicate that she actually did it. That is what I feel. So if she is clean without any single burn, it could be that the argument is true. But if she does have a burn, then she did it. It's just unfortunate. It's really pathetic. Just barely 5 months, 6 months into your happy married life, and this is what is happening. This is the tragedy that is going on. Over what? A text message. Over what? Your husband chatting with another woman. And if indeed she, to be honest, I believe she most likely did. It makes sense because we've seen a situation like this. We've seen a story like this where a woman did set her husband on fire because she couldn't get pregnant and he got another woman pregnant. That is because she had had multiple abortions for him while they were dating so that she won't get pregnant out of wedlock. And now that they're married, she couldn't get pregnant. We did that story a few times and she doused her husband with petrol, but eventually unalived herself after a few days. So I wouldn't be surprised. But to me, chatting on the phone with another woman, I don't know. I don't understand how that would literally set a woman off the edge to burn her husband with petrol. If that is the case, then she is one crazy woman, one crazy nurse. Nurse Retyit is currently in police custody, so she has a case to answer to. Because right now, the narrative is she killed her husband because of another woman he was chatting with.